And I think the other thing to consider, Alan, is when you do a layoff, you know, it's not as if it's a myth to think that you save $1 by laying off a person, because quite frankly, those individuals will qualify for unemployment, and so the cost savings to the state is roughly about 38 cents on the dollar, and so that's a short term. And then the impact on the small businesses that will have to contribute more money to the unemployment insurance fund. So you know, those are the types of things that we hope that the governor will consider when making these types of proposals. In addition, you have not only the direct impacts that you heard from Senator English and Baker, but you have the indirect impacts. You have the fear that's going throughout the community, whether I'm going to be next in terms of a layoff, and therefore the spending habits of that individual becomes less, and therefore spending less at our local businesses and restaurants and so forth. So you really have a major effect on the economy when you propose things like this, like a layoff of that magnitude. So,
yeah, and the University of Hawaii Economics Research Organization has really told us that the impact of these kinds of layoffs just has a ripple effect through the economy, and it really is a damper on the economy. So at a time that we're trying to encourage economic growth, we're trying to get visitors to come here, we're trying to make sure that our hotels stay in business, that there aren't any more layoffs in the private sector, state government really should be using that as an absolute last resort and not something that is the alternative that's being pushed at the moment.
I understand. Sounds scary, sorry.
It is scary, and
Wow.
I think it's going to be very impactful in ways that people perhaps have not even begun to contemplate. Changes in lifestyle and changes in what we have available to us, as well as the cost.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I have to move on. Even though the legislature is not in session right now, there seems to be a lot of activity. Senators are always busy. Can you share with us some of your work during the interim, please?
Well, you know, yes, you're right. We're all very, very busy. During the interim, generally we're preparing for the next session. We're monitoring things. We're making sure that projects that should be moving are moving. This particular interim has been especially busy for all of us. As you can see, we're conducting oversight hearings. It's going out, we're taking it to Maui so that the people in Maui County can voice their opinions, share with us. We can put a face, the people can put a face to just who this affects. But you know, some of the other things, well, for my district in particular, dealing with the EUTF and the prescription drug plan that went into effect, one of the unintended returns was, you know, would have had a huge impact on Molokai and Lanai, because they have one pharmacy there that services 2 islands, and how that service was delivered, and people were very uncomfortable with the new system. I understand that just a few days ago, EUTF put a stay on implementing the new system for, I think, a year. So, you know, that's something I stayed up on. I'm also the president of the Association of Pacific Island Legislatures. So in December, the entire organization, that's 13 countries, will be coming to Honolulu, and the annual meeting will be held here at the state capitol. So what that means for us is, you know, anytime an international conference comes to Hawaii, it means a lot of dollars coming in. Hotel rooms, rent-a-cars, meals. So it's a right on target for us. We need that money coming in.
You know, the Senate has the responsibility for confirming gubernatorial nominees, whether they're judges or others, and in the interim, we still get nominations to consider. So in addition to our veto override session, which the House and Senate came in July, we were just in for our second special session to confirm the Intermediate Court of Appeals Chief Judge, Craig Nakamura. And while we were here, we used that, it was right before statehood celebration, we used that to rededicate the newly restored mosaic that is the centerpiece of our Capitol Rotunda, done by a Maui artist, Tadashi Sato. And his family came over, and we held a recognition for him in the chamber. So, you know, those are some of the other kinds of things in addition to our oversight hearings and constituent work that we take care of in the interim.
Yeah, and it's an important time for us to get back into the community to kind of understand the direct impacts of either pieces of legislation that we did pass, didn't pass, or intending to pass or consider next year. And so, you know, I mean, we've been meeting with a lot of different groups. We had a meeting last week with the Maui Invasive Species Council. We met with the Contractors Association prior to that. I mean, just, you know, really trying to get engaged and understand. And of course, in addition to the ad hoc hearings, the Ways and Means Committee is doing, in the process of doing their site visits. So basically, going throughout the state, going to Kauai, the Big Island, Oahu. Senator English is making a big push for Molokai and Lanai as well. And Hana. And so, you know, but we're going to be seeing all the different problems and issues that each different community faces. So there, like they had said, I mean, there's a lot of work that, you know, we do during the interim. And again, it's a time for us to learn and get a better grasp as to what's facing people on a day-to-day basis.
And you know, one of the other things that we do that a lot of people sort of miss is that we also try to find opportunities to help constituencies in our district. You know, for example, within my district, you know, I have some of the poorest areas in Maui County, and so there was a program where there were backpacks being distributed to the kids in the schools with supplies. So, you know, I jumped on that really quickly and made sure that Molokai got some, Lanai got some, and Hana got some, because these will help some of our poorest families give some school supplies to the kids. So we worked very quickly and very hard to get those supplies out to the students. And that's in the process right now. So these are some of the things that we all do in our districts. Every little bit helps.
And the requests from constituents or concerns that they have don't stop just because we're not in session. So fortunately, we do have some staff here who can help us follow up on all of those requests.
We know what that's like. We know what that's like. Sorry, very quickly, we're running out of time. Could you briefly explain the Compacts of Free Association and how it affects Hawaii? And then with whatever time's left, you guys can put in whatever last thoughts you have.
Well, the Compacts of Free Association is a treaty that the United States has with 3 countries: Federated States of Micronesia, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, and the Republic of Palau. And very simply put, it gives their citizens rights of access to the United States, and the term that they use in the treaty is called habitual resident, which means that the residents from these countries, the Micronesians, are to be treated as if they're U.S. citizens in all respects except for voting. So under the treaty, it's a federal treaty, we are obliged to provide all the services to them. Really, what's happening with the medical care and these things right now, it's an issue that the Micronesian governments need to take up with the federal government, and the state of Hawaii needs to take up, because we're not getting the reimbursements we should be getting.
Understand. Thank you very much. Senators, any last thoughts? We have less than a minute left, please.
Well, I just, on behalf of Senator English, it's his district, but I had the privilege of representing Molokai. I just want to thank the Maui County Fire Department, all the DLNR folk that have been over, the National Guard that's coming in to help to make sure that that fire gets put out, that lives are saved. They've done an excellent job so far, and now if the weather will cooperate, we'll be in good shape. But mahalo to all of those fine public servants for their assistance, and the private folks that have helped.
And last but not least, we'd like to just thank Olelo as well as Okaku, not only for providing us an opportunity today, but throughout the session to kind of communicate back with our constituents and again voicing opinions large or small. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senators, for your time and expertise. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Aloha and mahalo.
Aloha.
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 And you were worried you were going to have